And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Board of County Commissioners board meeting for Tuesday, September 1st, 2020. The meeting is being called to order. And by way of introduction, number one, before we introduce, if you'd like to join in via conference call, the phone number is 360-252-9020, and the PIN is 1234. I'm Commissioner John Hutchings, the chair of the board. Also present is Vice Chair Commissioner Ty Menser, and Commissioner Gary Edwards is in the boardroom, along with County Manager Ramiro Chavez. I also see Assistant County Manager Robin Campbell. I know we have Amy Davis, the clerk of the board, in the boardroom, and I'm trusting Megan Porter is in, our PIO, and or Brian Dominique. And who else am I missing, Ramiro?
What I have on the screen, Commissioner, is Olivia Oddman, Under Sheriff Tim Braniff, County Engineer Scott Lindblom, Jacinda Steltjes, Dennis Osorio, Britt Burris, Ande DeFovis, and Tom Webster.
Great, thank you. Thank you all for joining us. And at the very end of this meeting, we're going to have, or at 3 o'clock, we're going to have a public hearing on the fiscal year 2019 HUD Annual Action Plan Amendment. So with that, I'm going to ask the Commissioner Edwards to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And is there a motion to approve today's agenda?
Move to approve today's agenda for September 1st, 2020.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve today's agenda. Is there any amendments or changes, additions? Nope. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. That motion carries. Is there a motion to approve the board meeting minutes from the 25th of August, 2020?
Move to approve board meeting minutes from August 25th, 2020.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the board meeting minutes from August 25th. Are there any corrections, changes, questions? Nope. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries as well. That takes us to number one on the agenda, which is the opportunity for the public to address the board. And in so doing, I will give you some guidelines. Please introduce yourself and where you live and reside in the county. Address the board, not staff. Please silence your cell phones. The board does not respond to public comment, and on an as-needed basis, the county manager will follow up with specific items. You're limited to 3 minutes to address the board, and your time cannot be donated to another speaker. No comments that are lewd, offensive, inflammatory, hateful, defamatory, or discriminatory in nature. Please be respectful. No outbursts, no comments that are commercial in nature. All materials provided to the county may be considered public records, subject to public release upon request pursuant to the Public Records Act, Chapter 42.56 of the RCW. Remarks about pending land use permits and similar issues wouldn't be appropriate either. Ramiro, will you please
thank you.
remind us about electioneering?
Thank you, Commissioners. I will encourage the members of the public who are planning to testify today to refrain from making comments that can be construed as electioneering. Thank you.
Thank you. So with that, I only have one person that has signed up, and that's John Pettit. And then we'll check and see if anybody else is on Zoom or on the conference call. Mr. Pettit, you're on. And you'll keep track of time for me in the boardroom?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is John Pettit. I live out off of Rich Road. And you get to see an awful lot of me, but today I'm going to talk about two issues. One has to do with previous actions of budget reductions and the need to be reversed. I found a really nice part here on some information you currently have that you're going to be considering and looking at later today. It also indicates that through August, sales tax revenue is 6.6% above last year and 0.6% above the pre-COVID forecast. You have more revenue than what you even planned on. So as such, I'm encouraging you once again to redo and reverse actions you previously took in budget reductions. As such, because budget reductions, the levy tax rates were set on the amount that was prescribed to be budgeted for expenditures, when you made budget reductions, essentially, you've cut back on the expenses, and based upon my understanding of state law, and I'm sure it'll be looked at closer, that made your property tax levies illegal for the Thurston County portion because expenditures have to be met within the level of budget that you've done. So my next action, providing we don't get that handled, is to go and seek to have all of the Thurston County property tax portion declared illegal and then start having it refunded to the entire public. I would suggest you go back, eliminate the portions that caused you to reduce things. My second issue, which I'm going to deal with very briefly, only a short time, has to do with the Veteran Fund. My friend Terry Ballard, he had written a letter, and it came back, got some good response on it. And after analyzing the letter, I found out the actual expenditures that went to the benefit of indigent veterans is just over $100,000. Now that probably seems like, well, gee, that's really great and everything. The sad part is the total budget amount that you used was about $250,000. And there's also a large question related to expenditure for the Lacey Veteran Hub, which is not something that, based upon the Veterans Assistance Fund policies and procedures, there is no provision for expenditure of $30,000 out of the fund unless it meets for indigent. The second part to this is that also there's been a large amount sent to homeless facilities for helping take care of night watch on people. And each of those places need to provide an accounting that they met the eligibility requirements in order to receive the funds from the fund for reimbursement. So I will look forward to the county manager perhaps making sure there's a full accounting of all of the funds and who the recipients were and how much each one, because they're all limited to a very specific amount. Thank you.
Romero, can you see, is there anybody else on the Zoom that might have public comment?
No, nobody's in the room.
Okay.
Let me check the conference call. For those members of the public who have joined us this afternoon via conference call, if you'd like to provide public testimony this afternoon, please unmute yourself. You have 3 minutes. State your name and where you reside in the county. None, sir.
No one on the phone, no one in the room, no one else on Zoom. Then there's no more public comment. Okay. Agenda item number 2 is the county manager's update and follow-up.
Yeah, thank you. I think Mr. Pettit made a reference of the follow-up to Mr. Terry Ballard that he provided testimony last week. First of all, I'd like to apologize to Mr. Terry Ballard for the late response. And this is on me. I didn't track that he submitted a correspondence back in May, so my apologies to that. He was asking an update on the Veterans Fund. I believe Mr. Pettit submitted a copy of the letter to you this afternoon. So what I responded in terms of what was the budgeted amount in 2019 or the Veterans Fund was $349,402. The actual expenses in 2018 was $248,319, which we had an ending fund balance in 2019 of $586,618. Also, in my letter, I explained to Mr. Ballard the ending fund balance remained on the fund and remain to help the needs of our veterans in our community. Those funds have not been transferred to any other funds to fund any other activities in the county. So there is opportunity to continue to support our veterans in the fund balance. And Mr. Ballard had specific questions. And one related to housing and shelter to veterans. We have spent $70,000, which $30,000 in supporting the Lacey Veterans Hub, which Mr. Spider provided testimony today. We spent in burials and awarded $1,600 related to that. Utilities, $9,294. We assisted 59 veterans directly with financial assistance. And professional services, we provided the amount of $48,000 to local home shelters, which resulted in 1,197 bed nights for homeless veterans. And I believe it's some of the questions that Mr. Ballard outlined in his letter. And again, my apologies for my late response. And the response that I sent back to Mr. Ballard was last week. Thank you.
All right, thank you, County Manager. That takes us to item number 3 on the agenda, the auditor's financial services, the vouchers. Does my commissioners have any questions or comments regarding the vouchers?
No.
Okay. All in favor of approving the consent items, which is the vouchers, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries.
I didn't make the
Wait a
motion.
minute, we didn't do a motion. Yeah, I just caught that. Is there a motion to approve? Thank you.
Yes, sir. I'll make a motion to approve consent item 3A.
Second.
So it's been voted on, and then it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on the vouchers? Okay, all in favor of approving the voucher list, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion now carries. Thank you. Department item number 4, the Sheriff's Office request for proposal for pharmaceutical services for the jail corrections facility. And we've got the Undersheriff, Tim Braniff.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. We're looking to respectfully request to approve the issuance of a request for proposal for our pharmaceutical services for the jail. We've had a contract with Omnicare since January of 2015, and it's due to expire at the end of this year, December 31st, 2020. We're requesting that we go out for an RFP once we receive it and award the RFP to a particular vendor that we be able to sign that as well. The deadline for submission for the RFP will be September 25th, 2020. The RFP has been reviewed and approved by our legal advisor in the prosecuting attorney's office and our risk management.
All right, thank you, Undersheriff. Any questions or comments for the Undersheriff Braniff?
No, sir.
Nope, okay. And is there a motion?
Yes, I move to approve the issuance of a request for proposal for pharmaceutical services for the Thurston County Correctional Facility and authorize the sheriff or his designee to execute a contract with a successful bidder.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions or further discussion? Nope. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. All right, thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 5 is Community Planning Economic Development, 5A, and this is the Washington Department of Ecology Shoreline Master Program Grant Contract. And we have Andy DeFobis.
Yes. Hello, Chair Hutchings and Commissioners. I'm Andrew DeFobis, Associate Planner with the Department of Community Planning and Economic Development. Today, I'm here to ask the Board of County Commissioners to approve a contract with the State Department of Ecology to provide funding for the County Shoreline Master Program update. The county is currently updating its master program, or SMP, and this regulates marine shorelines, larger lakes, and streams. The updates are required by state law. So part of the county's update is what's known as the periodic review. All jurisdictions are required to periodically review changes in state law that have occurred since they adopted their updates to ensure that the SMP is in compliance. The Department of Ecology has made funds available to jurisdictions that are doing this work, and the amount that's available to Thurston County is $84,000. Currently, the Shoreline Master Program is being reviewed by the Planning Commission, who will ultimately hold a public hearing and provide a recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners before the board takes up its review. That concludes my remarks. Thank you very much.
Does anybody have any questions or comments regarding this?
No,
Nope.
sir.
Okay, is there a motion?
I move to approve a contract with the Washington Department of Ecology to accept $84,000 to complete the periodic review of the Shoreline Master Program, and authorize the Director of Community Planning and Economic Development Department to sign the contract on behalf of the Thurston Board of County Commissioners.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on this motion? Nope. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. Thank you, Andy.
Thank you. Have a great day.
5B, acceptance of the conservation easement. Is that the show? How do you pronounce that?
Brett?
The Shaw.
The Shaw. Close. Go ahead, Brett Bird. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So this is an opportunity to work with a private citizen conducting a large lot subdivision that had Mazama Pocket Filters found on their site. They elected to move forward with creating their own habitat conservation plan in an attempt to gain an incidental take permit or an ITP with U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. This draft conservation easement has been vetted through both CPED and the prosecuting attorney's office, and it does show how we as CPED members in the county are providing a service for applicants to move forward with their project consistent with strategic initiative number 6 and number 7.
Hey, any questions of Brett?
No, well discussed earlier.
Yep, okay. Is there a motion?
I move to accept the Deschaux conservation easement over 2.58 acres of the parcel located at 17446 110th Avenue Southeast, Yelm, Washington, 98597.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to accept this. Any further discussion? Nope. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. That motion carries. Brett Burns, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Item number 6, information technology. 6A, this is contract award for Qmatic queuing system. And we have Dennis Osorio, I believe. There we go, Dennis. Go ahead, sir.
Good afternoon, Dennis Osorio, IT Director. This request is to obtain a queue management software system to reduce the number of people who need to wait in lobbies or hallways in county facilities due to the pandemic. IT led a group of stakeholders from various offices and departments to evaluate 5 different systems and got demos of all of those. And based on the business requirements of these stakeholders, Qmatic was best identified to meet the county's requirements. The system provides automated customer queuing where the customer can select a specific service needed at the in person at the county. The system will provide line management and reduce the amount of people in proximity in county facilities. The system will also help streamline workflows within county offices and departments, as they'll have a better idea of how many people are waiting in line. For county visitors, a big improvement for services, they'll be able to schedule appointments ahead of time, either via phone or internet. And then they could also schedule the appointment in person at a kiosk and be able to see when they are going to be next in line. Sorry, I gotta scroll. The system will be funded by Corona relief funds. The current vendor quote is $182,107.62. The request total is $200,318.39, which includes tax and a 10% contingency. And there will be an additional cost in future years of $14,206.50.
Okay.
Today, I'm asking for a waiver from the competitive bidding in accordance with RCW 39042801C under the Emergency Declaration Resolution 15907 for myself to award the contract to Qmatic, which will assist in social distancing not to exceed $200,318.39. We will need to have a little bit more funding for monitors throughout the deployment of this, but that will have to come during the design phase since it depends on lobby and needs, and we weren't able to necessarily plan that in advance.
All right, any questions of Dennis regarding this?
Dennis?
Yes.
Dennis, do you know how many buildings this is going to cover?
I know currently, when we sent it out, we had 8 offices and departments. And we do have
Okay.
there's a mixture of what because we will have some certain kiosks, but not all offices and departments may need a kiosk depending on how big, how much traffic they have.
Okay, so it's going to be spread throughout the county to assist them in dealing with it.
Yes,
right?
and I did send it out countywide to get as much stakeholder engagement as I could because you know, you want at least going to different county facilities. You want the same system. It would be pretty difficult if you're coming into a certain office or certain department and it's an entirely different system. I think that would just hinder the customer experience.
Thank you.
Commissioner Mentor, anything?
No questions, just state that if folks are curious about the financial details, this morning's agenda setting meeting had a deeper discussion on that point.
So I have one question, Dennis, and that is that 200,000 max, that does not include the cost that says plus cost for required television monitors. That will be assessed once it is installed?
Yeah, yes, once we get further on during the project phase, we can assess that. And if the contingency is enough, we could just use the funds out of the contingency to fund that. If not, we'll need to come back and
come back. Okay. Thank you. Here's our motion then.
I move to authorize a waiver from competitive bidding in accordance with RCW 39.04.2801C under the Emergency Declaration Resolution 15907 and authorize the Information Technology Director to award a contract to Qmatic for a queuing system that will assist with social distancing, not to exceed $200,318.39 plus costs for any required television monitors.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to award contract to Qmatic queuing system and waive the competitive bidding. Any further discussion? No. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Thank you, Dennis.
thank you.
Agenda item number 7A, is Public Health and Social Services, Thurston County Criminal Justice Treatment Account Plan. We have Carrie Hennen, Program Manager, with us. Hi, Carrie.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Carrie Hennen, Public Health and Social Services. And yes, I'm here to ask for your approval of our local Criminal Justice Treatment Account Plan, CJTA for short. So CJTA is a fund source that the county receives from the Washington Healthcare Authority. The funding level is about $372,000 in the current state fiscal year. You approved that contract several weeks ago, and then pursuant to state law related to that fund source, we are required to convene a panel locally that includes representatives from our prosecuting attorney's office, public defense, superior court, drug court, the sheriff's office, and a substance use disorder treatment provider to develop a plan for how we will use those funds within the parameters in state law, which are that this funding is for substance use disorder treatment and recovery support services for individuals involved in the criminal justice system. So that group locally has developed a plan. That plan includes several uses of the funding in the current year. The 4 primary uses are substance use disorder assessments for justice-involved individuals when requested by their defense attorneys, treatment and recovery support services for individuals involved in Thurston County Drug Court, parenting classes for eligible individuals, and treatment and recovery support services for eligible individuals participating in mental health and veterans court. So that's all in the plan that those representatives of all those offices and departments developed. And so I am here asking for your approval on that plan.
Okay. Any questions of Carrie?
No, we covered that this morning as well.
Okay. And is there a motion, sir?
I move to approve the updated Thurston County Criminal Justice Treatment Account Plan to provide substance use disorder treatment and recovery support services for individuals involved in the criminal justice system.
Second.
So it's moved and seconded to approve the Thurston County CJTA plan. No further discussion, or is there? Nope. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. Thank you, Carrie.
Thank you.
7B, approval of cold and hazardous weather contracts. And we have Social Services Program Specialist number 2, Tom Webster in the house. Hi, Tom.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Tom Webster, Public Health and Social Services. So we're here today to ask your approval for 5 contracts for cold and hazardous weather activities between the county and 4 nonprofit organizations. The county issued a request for proposals back in February for homeless and affordable housing applications. As part of that process, we solicited applications for their cold and hazardous weather season. We previously approved other contracts under this fund source back in June, but we've delayed the hazardous and cold weather contracts as we tried to figure out how the pandemic would impact our cold and hazardous weather system. So now we're coming to ask your approval for 5 contracts, one to Community Youth Services for their young adult shelter during the cold weather season for $62,000, to Family Support Center for Pear Blossom cold weather for $70,000, for Partners in Prevention Education PIPE for shelter-in-place activities during the cold weather season for $68,000, to Interfaith Works for hazardous weather activities for $15,000, and also to Partners in Prevention Education PIPE for shelter-in-place activities during hazardous weather activities. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Commissioners, any questions for Tom?
No, sir. We covered that this morning too.
Is there a motion then?
Move to approve 5 contracts for cold and hazardous weather activities between the county and 4 nonprofit organizations for the combined total amount of $230,000 for the 2020 program year, and authorize the Director of Public Health and Social Services to sign the contracts and any amendments that do not change the dollar amount or duration by more than 10%.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the contracts for cold and hazardous weather. Any further discussion?
No.
Nope. Would I interrupt someone? No. Okay. I would just say that I am very grateful for these 4 nonprofit organizations for coming together and providing the services that they do. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. Thank you. 7C is approving an interlocal agreement to create a regional housing council. Tom?
Good afternoon again. So this request for you is for your request your approval for an interlocal agreement between Thurston County, the cities of Olympia, Lacey, Tumwater, Yelm, Rainier, and Tenino, and the town of Bucota to create a regional housing council. So for about the last year, these jurisdictions have been getting together to discuss growing regional affordable housing and homeless crisis in Thurston County. And they have worked to develop this ILA to create a joint effort to tackle these challenges as a regional issue. So this ILA formally establishes the Regional Housing Council. With the establishment or the execution of this interlocal agreement, it will dissolve the current Health and Human Services Council. However, the 0.5% sales tax that goes to Health and Human Services activities will continue and will be renamed the Human Services Fund. The term of this interlocal agreement is for 5 years. Thurston County will act as the lead agency and fiscal agent of the Regional Housing Council. As the lead agency, the Thurston County voting member on the RHC will serve as either the chair or vice chair of the RHC. And then the RHC will be making funding recommendations to the board going forward on the various housing and affordable housing fund sources that you authorize. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions of Tom regarding the RHC?
No, sir.
Nope. Okay. Tom, as I said this morning, I think it's pretty amazingly cool that we have 6 cities and a town in concert with the county working on the homelessness issues as we get this thing going. It was Herculean work over the last 18 months or so. So thank you for what you did and all your staff and your involvement in this. Is there a motion?
Move to approve an interlocal agreement between Thurston County, the cities of Olympia, Lacey, Tumwater, Yelm, Rainier, and Tenino, and the town of Bucota to create the Regional Housing Council.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the ILA to create the RHC. Any further discussion? Nope. Yes, go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to pipe up and say that I'm really proud of this coming together. And I have the work is not done, the work's just beginning. I have high expectations for what this group might be able to accomplish by pooling resources, pooling its brain power, and presenting a coordinated message to the community. I feel like in this particular arena of housing and homelessness, sometimes we're not doing the right thing, and it's because we're not coordinated and working together. And sometimes we are doing the right thing, and the public has trouble understanding what the strategy is. So I think that the RHC is going to help on both of those counts. And I think we're going to have some really substantial projects that we will be able to pull off that wouldn't have been able to have happened otherwise. So really excited about this.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, just ditto. Thank you very much. So is there a motion? Or did you make a motion?
I made the motion. This was my discussion point.
The discussion. So all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 8 is Public Works setting a public hearing for the 6-year transportation improvement program for 2021 through 2026. And County Engineer Scott Lindblom. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I've got the item before you this afternoon is the request to schedule a public hearing to take public comment on the county's 6-year transportation improvement program. Pursuant to RCW 3681-121 and WAC 13615, the Board of County Commissioners is required to adopt a 6-year transportation improvement program, we call the TIP, before adoption of the budget each year. This TIP outlines the county's future plans for transportation improvements and projects and really guides most of all the work we do. Adoption of the TIP and the annual road program, which is part of the TIP, authorizes the county engineer to approve right-of-way plans for specific projects in the TIP and the annual road program. By having projects in the TIP, it allows Public Works to seek and be eligible to secure funding and proceed with work on projects where funding is available. The proposed program continues to be qualified based on the availability of financial support and one which is minimal given the needs of the county. We did present this TIP to you in a briefing on July 29th, 2020, and the proposed TIP will be made available to neighboring jurisdictions, community groups, chambers of commerce, and will be posted on the Public Works website. In addition, the notice of the hearing will be published in the Olympian on September 4th and September 11th. The TIP is consistent with the county's strategic plan and meets Initiative 6, which is proactively shape a strong, diverse economy that provides equitable access to opportunity, and Initiative 8, support a robust and well-maintained infrastructure systems for a thriving economy. And with that, I'd be more than open to any questions you might have.
Wonderfully said. Any questions of Scott? Nope. All right, is there a motion?
I move to set a public hearing for September 15th, 3 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter may be heard, in room 280, building 1 of the Thurston County Courthouse, 2000 Lake Ridge Drive Southwest, Olympia, Washington, to formally receive testimony and consider the proposed 6-year transportation improvement program for the calendar years 2021 through 2026.
Second.
So it's been moved and seconded to set a public hearing for the 6-year TIP. Any further discussion or questions? Nope. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye, that motion carries. And 8B is resolution for a temporary road closure of Case Road. Go ahead, Scott.
Good afternoon once again. This second and last item for your consideration today is a request to temporarily close a portion of Case Road between Maytown Road and 140th Avenue Southwest. Doing so will expedite construction of the Case Road Fish Barrier Removal Project. The temporary closure is requested for a 1-week period in September. The temporary closure would be in effect from September 14th through September 20th. And by doing so, it will allow the contractor full access to the site for the duration of the project, as well as helping to keep our crews and inspectors safe and make construction more efficient. While we did not originally anticipate this closure, we did find through the planning and preparation process for this project, when one of the utilities did relocate their utilities outside of the permanent improvements, they put it in such a place that it was going to be impacting one of our bypass roads we had planned on constructing. While we could, if time allowed, request the utility relocate their utility, our fish window, which, as was discussed a little bit this morning, closes at the end of the month, end of September. That's this month already. So time is of the essence. And by having this closure, we expect a 4-week time savings in construction. So not only will the detour route be in place for only a week, the impact of the community will be about 4 weeks less than we had originally anticipated. The delay will be, or the detour will be set up. It's about 6.3 miles, which is about a 10-minute detour. But really, the actual delay will only be about 7 minutes because we did expect about a 3-minute delay by keeping the road or the construction area open to traffic. So instead of a 4 or 5 week closure or limitation of one-way traffic, we'll have a 1-week closure to all traffic. With your approval, we will begin immediately outreaching to the emergency services, including the fire department and the sheriff's department, to let them know what's going on. And I open it up to any questions you might have.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for Scott?
No, just a real good job of planning. I'd like to point that out.
Go ahead, Ty.
Can you elaborate on what the fish window means?
Yeah, certainly. The fish window is the time frame. It does sound kind of odd. The fish window is the time frame in which we are allowed to do work within the stream bed or within the stream below the ordinary high water mark. So what that means is any work we have installing a culvert or removing a culvert or restoring a stream bed has to be complete, and we have to be doing no further work in there past that date. And that's a date that's set by Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife. So each year when I'm sorry?
Oh, and that's based on the idea that it would cause the least damage to the fish during that window.
Correct. Yep.
I get excited about the fish barrier removals anyway. This is very, very cool stuff. Margaret Storvik, did you have anything to add?
No, I didn't. Scott covered everything.
Perfect. Is there a motion?
Yes. I move to approve the resolution authorizing the temporary closure of Case Road Southwest between Maytown Road Southwest and 140th Avenue Southwest for up to seven calendar days from September 14th through September 20th, 2020.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to close Case Road for 2 weeks. No, for 7 calendar days. Any further comments? No. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, thank you.
Okay, that takes us to agenda item number 9, where the commissioners report back on their work sessions, assigned committee meetings and such. Start with Commissioner Edwards.
Last week was a relatively light week, but a lot of community concern with the activity out at the old McKenna home, which is set to house 140 individuals that are going through transition of one type or another. And the community is fired up about it, even though it's not in Thurston County. It is right on the border with Thurston County. It's undoubtedly going to have an impact. So that's the majority of my time has been allocated to that activity. Thank you.
Commissioner Menser.
I'll just report on one item. I'm continuing to work on with stakeholders in the community on the possibility of helping create a resource center, we're calling it, or resource building, which would be, the concept would be sort of a services hub, either connected to folks experiencing homelessness, whether it be experiencing folks re-entering after a period of time in incarceration, or both of those things. I think I reported formally on a Zoom meeting I had with a King County model that we talked about with the director there. And then we had a tour of the Pierce County model. They have a court resource center. Theirs is really focused on court cases and folks, criminally justice involved. And then local stakeholders have been discussing what we learned. We've got Path Mountain involved. We've got SPSCC involved. We've got the Capital Recovery Center involved. We've got prosecutor's office, public defense. An excellent array of folks have been showing up to our visioning and brainstorming meetings to see what might be possible in Thurston County. So stay tuned for more on that, but we're continuing to move those discussions forward.
Thank you. I had a follow-up meeting yesterday with Dr. Tim Stokes, president of the SPSCC, regarding Modern Warrior Live. The county set aside $5,000 to assist in bringing that program from the East Coast to SPSCC. It was supposed to happen like in April, and COVID, of course, pushed that aside. So the city, some of the cities are still committed. County at this point still committed. The school is still committed, but Modern Warrior Live have to put, they've had to put numerous of their nationwide tours on hold, which to their detriment, of course. So they're looking at 2021 or 2022 in the springtime, bringing it out. I have my quarterly check-in with Dave Schaffert with the Thurston County Chamber, and last evening for an hour and a half with Tourism Protection Promotion Area, subset of the Visitor Convention Bureau, of how that is suffering nationally and statewide and even locally, but starting to come back in certain areas. And then I had a constituent lunch. Apparently, a constituent purchased a lunch with a commissioner at a fundraiser in Tenino last year. And he cashed it in, and we spent 2 hours with a great lunch and a very good, robust discussion on farming and such. It was I loved it. That's why it went 2 hours rather than an hour. And that's one of the highlights. That's the fun stuff. And with that, I turn to the county manager to cover our schedule.
Thank you, Commissioners. Just to remind the public, the Board of County Commissioners meeting for next week, September 8th, has been canceled, as well as the regular Board of Health meeting for September 8th has been canceled. The Board of Health will be rescheduled within 2 weeks to deal with some items that have some time sensitivity to that. So I'm going to walk you through your combined schedule for the next 2 weeks. Is where at least 2 commissioners are present on those meetings. You may have individual appointments on your individual calendars, and those will not be part of my report. Here in just about 20 minutes, you have a public hearing where you will be receiving public testimony related to the amendment to the 2019 Housing and Urban Development Annual Action Plan. Then at 3:30 in the afternoon today, you have a budget meeting where Robin Campbell will walk you through the beginning conversations of this journey that you're about to embark on the budget preparation for next year. Wednesday, September 2nd, you have from 9 in the morning to 11:45, a budget work session. You will have a break in the middle, and you'll convene back at 1:30 to 4 in the afternoon tomorrow, Wednesday, September 2nd, to continue with the budget conversations. Moving to Thursday, September 3rd, you have your regular commissioners check-in, and I will be placing an agenda 24 hours in advance related to the meeting. Thursday, September 3rd at 1 in the afternoon, you have your regular Superior Court update. Friday, September 4th, from 9 to 11:45, you have another budget work session. You will break for lunch, and then you'll come back at 1:30 on September 4th until 4 in the afternoon, continue the conversations with the budget work session. Moving on to Monday, September 7th, the courthouse will be closed in observance of the Labor Day holiday. Tuesday, September 8th, we'll convene here at 9 in the morning to through agenda setting, where you'll be looking and reviewing the agenda items for the following week, which is September 15th. And again, the Board of County Commissioners at 2 o'clock was canceled. The Board of Health meeting also was canceled at 3:30. However, at 3 in the afternoon, you do have a virtual public hearing where you will be receiving public testimony related to a non-exclusive franchise for liquid petroleum products pipeline in the county. Wednesday, September 9th, at noon, you have your monthly meeting with your appointed directors. 1 in the afternoon, September 9th, you have an appeal of a hearing examiner's decision related to a specific permit. 2, you have a WIRA watershed update. 2:30 that day, you have the traffic impact fee follow-up. I have a question on that, whether staff is ready to continue with that briefing, but I will confirm that in a few days. And at 3:30 in the afternoon, September 9th, you have a briefing related to the CASA program in juvenile court. Thursday, September 10th, 9 in the morning, you have a briefing related to the development agreement and a proposed amendment to that agreement. 9:30 on September 10th, you have a meet and greet with the new leadership here on the Salvation Army of Olympia, Thurston County. Thursday, September 10th at 9 in the morning, you have your regular commissioners check-in, and agenda will be published 24 hours in advance. And at 2 in the afternoon, Thursday, September 10th, you have an executive session related to the request for proposals for the solid waste contract. Friday, September 11th, from 9 to 3 in the afternoon, you have a commissioners planning session. An agenda will be developed, and as well as the location will be identified. Monday, September 14th, at noon, you have your regular Washington State Association of Counties virtual assembly, where you will have the opportunity to meet with the leadership of WASAC as well as your counterparts across the state. And Tuesday, September 15, you have the agenda setting in the morning from 9 to 12, and then your regular Board of County Commissioners 2 in the afternoon on September 15. And that is my report.
Thank you, sir. Looking forward to seeing Jared Arnold come in or on Zoom. The new leadership for Salvation Army is very engaging young man. That's looking forward to that. With that, is there anything for the good of the order, commissioners?
I do have a question.
Yes. Please go ahead.
For County Manager, the item that you referenced with it's an appeal of a hearing examiner decision.
Yeah.
Is that the hearing? Is that the times where we're going to be actually hearing testimony or whatnot? I thought there was going to be a preliminary sort of orientation session.
Yeah, thank you for the clarification. I will be scheduling an executive session at the end of your agenda setting on September 8th. Well, you will meet with your attorney to give you a briefing related to the upcoming hearing.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, thank you. Thank you for clarifying that.
Yes, thank you for that. All right, with that, then we're going to adjourn this meeting. But is this the same Zoom that we're going to use for the public hearing?
No, it's not. So you may consider closing this meeting.
Yeah, we'll adjourn then. Okay, thank you all very much for joining us. We'll be back at 3 o'clock for a public hearing. Bye-bye.